Looking for some basic tips on how to use both assistive and mainstream technology in general? Check out the Teachability section on our website.
The opinions expressed on Teachavision are solely those of the guests and hosts and do not represent other companies or third parties. Thank you for listening.
Hello, and welcome to Teachavision, a podcast by Screenless Allies, where everyone has a different vision of learning. And now, here's your host, Jose Briceño.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Teachavision episode number 53. I know, I posted an episode yesterday, and now here's another one on May 26th of 2025, Memorial Day. Well, here is why we're doing this. We're going to do something even more different. You know, we did interviews, we've done all that, we've done reviews, but this time we're going to do what I like to call a story time. But unfortunately, this story time isn't going to be funny. This is a story of self-advocacy and perseverance at our first ever summer job. This coming series is going to bring a story that happened May 26th of 2017. And this took place at a camp of children with disabilities. My friend Mariah Long and I became counselors there. And we're going to bring this story to you. Now, I do have a couple of disclaimers. Number one, we are not going to name drop this camp. If you know what the camp is, then I ask you to not do it by name, because we're not here to roast anybody, as they say in the new age. We're not here to do that. We're here to educate. We're here to tell our story. Number two, we will not answer any additional questions that may come up about these camps. While I understand that everyone means well, this isn't something that we would want to answer because we don't want it to go to the wrong hands and people start assuming and then rumors start and then we're going to get in trouble. So let's not do that. That's not our goal. Like I said, we're here to educate. We're not here to call anyone out. We're just telling our story. With those disclaimers being out of the way, we'll start off this story time with part one, which consists of how did we get this job and just some of the things that happened throughout, such as training, sign language, and even learning inappropriate signing. All that and more right here on Teachavision by Screenless Allies. Mariah, welcome back to the podcast. It's been years.
It has definitely been quite a long time. It's great to be back on the program again.
I'll start off by saying that I was actually the one that received the lead for this said position. And it was kind of interesting because I looked at it and I was like, well, I've never had this kind of thing before, so let's try it out. And I remember you knew a little bit about what it was going to entail in a way.
Yes and no. The position in question was as a camp counselor at a summer camp for children with various disabilities. And my mom and sister both had worked at this camp as counselors, and I had gone as a camper. And I do want to say that as a camper, this place was a really magical place. They were good people. They did give me some of my confidence, and they did actually do some pretty neat things. I attended for 9 years. You can go from 7 to 16, and I attended all 9 years. It was kind of a ritual every summer.
And I never been. I never went, by the way. I never went.
I had an idea of what the position would entail just from my sister's stories and my mom's stories, but Jose had told me about this, and I was like, oh my God, like, this is amazing. Like, I want to go because I was a camper here, and I feel like I could give something back as a counselor. And so we both decided to jump right on the application process. And for me, at least, it went pretty smooth. Everybody seemed pretty happy. It got a little weird. I did get an email from my soon-to-be boss, though, regarding my guide dog and his tags. It wasn't even an ask. Like, can you put tag protectors on his tags or something so they don't clink as much? if he wakes up and shifts during the night. Oh no, he told me in no uncertain terms that I needed to find something for my dog's tags because some of the kids might be triggered if he shifted. Like, that was a little weird. I didn't really give it much thought, at least for me. Like, was the application process okay for you?
Yeah,
I don't think you ever.
Because I'm a cane user compared to Mariah, and that's actually another coming soon.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I did get asked, actually, if there were accommodations that I needed, such as getting help getting around the building. Now, this is important because I'm sure Mariah also receives this. Keep this in mind as we proceed with the story. So I did receive that, but I did not receive anything about dog tags. Actually, this was the first time I ever even heard about this.
You did? I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't really ask me like what I needed or anything
during the interview process.
Wow.
They, what do you need?
No, see, they didn't ask me that. Nope.
I need help getting around, people. I've never been to this place, so yeah.
I didn't ask, but I was like, I'm going to need some assistance. It's a big place. It is a huge place.
It definitely is a big
100 plus like the acreage is expansive. 100 plus acres of land. It's huge. But I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need some help. But I didn't get asked.
The application process though was very self-explanatory. It was accessible. I was able to fill that out. We had to take a course as well that we needed. So
yeah, we had to get certified. I had to get certified in CPR and first aid.
I did it online.
Unfortunately, I wanted to do mine hands-on because I don't know, reading things online is one thing, but I had to do mine online. Unfortunately, I ran out of time, but I did get certified.
Yeah, and you didn't think deeper into it. You were like, this might be interesting if I'm starting to get this kind of email. Did you ever look into it more and go, interesting?
I was a little concerned, honestly. I kind of kept it in the back of my mind. It was a little warning bell. It wasn't like, warning, danger, danger, but it was just like, okay, all right, Mariah, just keep an eye on the situation in case it develops. It was very thinly disguised discomfort about having a dog around. In my interview process, they talked about that too. They were like, well, there are going to be kids who are going to want to pet the dog who don't understand. And I said, well, I'm going to do my best, but if you don't mind, have all your people talk with these kids, because it was a new rotation of kids each week. Some of these kids may not understand, but the ones who do, we need to have everybody to talk to them just so that we can avoid any undue stress on my dog and on myself, because the ones who don't understand, by eliminating the ones who do and, explaining, hey, don't pet this dog, you help because there are less things to deal with. And
Definitely. And we'll get to that in a second, because there are also some regulations on guide dogs. And we're gonna guys, the next few weeks is gonna be nothing but, this is not
we did warn you.
Yeah. This is going to be
you. Like, this is,
yeah. There's no comedy.
No.
So for you,
I mean, there are some hilarious moments. There are some hilarious moments in here,
and we'll share those.
Like,
but there's
absolutely
comedy. There's gonna be, but it's not comedy. So we get there because we did the interview process. We both got it. We were in touch, and I was like, "Did you get it? Yep. Did you get it? Definitely."
Oh my God, we were like. Did you get an email? No, I didn't.
Did you get the email?
The job, like
we called each other.
Teenagers. We were like, oh my God,
we called each other. I remember I told her, I said, we get to boss kids around, tell them to go to bed. Man, it's gonna be nice being on the other side of the spectrum for once.
Yeah,
I was warned by people to be careful when I went down there, because this was the first time I ever been there. So it was like, be very careful. Make sure you advocate for yourself if you need anything. But little did we know that advocate skill was going to be pulled out more than once, more than what we needed to.
You are not wrong about the advocacy thing. I had not only the appropriate equipment for me and my dog, but I also had taken the opportunity to pack my Perkins brailer, which I didn't know if I was going to need it. I also was like, this is probably going to save us. There is going to be some need for this. So I made sure I had it. I had my cell phone.
We had our computer.
Oh, yeah. One of the big things about a place like where we worked was the kids were cut off from electronic devices for obvious reasons. Like they wanted the kids to focus on the activities and not be so screen dependent, just so that they could appreciate the time they were going to have and really put focus into the activity. We actually had to explain to staff that our phones, mine and Jose's, the rule was we weren't allowed to use our cell phones where the kids could see. But the problem with that was I started out at first brailing our schedules, but then I was like, I can put them in my phone. We had to get special permission to be able to use our cell phones, even with the kids around.
Even then, Ron, let me just put that out there. Even then, the people that were in charge of us, so to speak, the leaders, despite us getting permission, were always on to us about it. Yeah.
Yep.
Don't get your phone out. Not only that, also, but we had earbuds because we didn't take a braille display with us.
Nope.
So we had one earbud in one ear, and then we had to control the screen with one finger. And we did have the screen curtain enabled on iPhones, but still, there was no easy way to be able to communicate. And in between Mariah and I, we had almost daily communication. And then on weekends, we grouped up and were just talking about what happened. We had that issue of the phones. On my front, I had the issue of attempting to help students with different things. And I'm sure, Mariah, you've had this issue as well. I wanted to help do something with a student, and the other staff were like, wait a minute, don't do that because, you can't see it. Obviously, they didn't tell you couldn't see it, but you could tell that the staff were not properly trained. And I know this for a fact because the only thing that they taught when we were going through our first week of training, the only thing that the other people were taught was how to go inside a guy with a blind person. That was the only thing that we were trained on. That was it.
Yeah, and I think we got like a 5-minute Q&A, but nobody really seemed to have questions.
Want honest, non-influenced reviews over assistive and mainstream technology from a blind person's perspective? Check out the Teachability reviews on our website.
I was going to say training week was kind of a disaster anyway, because this to me was a very valuable skill, and I'm very sad that you had some difficulty with this. So there were a lot of hearing impaired kids that were coming to this camp. Yeah, I know. One of the things they heavily focused on was the use of sign language. The problem with that was, honestly, finding help. Honestly, it kind of felt like high school. Our bosses would be like, so-and-so, you're going to help Mariah and Jose. And sometimes they'd be like, oh, that's great. I'm happy to. And other times you could just tell the disdain. I was very lucky. I knew how to fingerspell by the time our sign language classes were over. I knew a couple of signs, but nothing to really write home about.
Definitely. For me, I was also fortunate to have a young lady who was able to give me a hand with this.
Our training was very heavily hearing impaired.
Oh, see, and that's the thing is, if they could dedicate time to the hearing impaired to learn a full week of sign language, the only signs I ever learned was, I am a certain kind of feeling, and the middle finger emoji. Those are the only signs I know. And actually, the I feel a certain way was actually on by mistake because I was practicing the sign that is I'm hungry. And for those of you that know American Sign Language, if you do it more than once, it means something completely different. And I didn't know that until I was practicing and somebody said, Jose, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm practicing my signing. And well, what are you doing? I'm hungry. Jose, you don't do it more than once.
That's not what,
man.
No, you don't, no.
Yeah, I feel a certain way. One day at a lunch period, we had to practice signing, which meant
freaking silent lunch.
Tell me how you really feel, Mariah.
That was the nice F word. No, that was that was ridiculous.
Okay, let me explain to the audience what this was all about. I believe it was on a Wednesday. They told us, okay,
Thursday.
guys, Thursday. Okay, guys, so you get to practice all the
signs because we had
learn.
3 days of classes, and then they were like, okay, so now at lunch, everybody's going to eat and practice all the signs you know.
Originally, it was like, okay, cool, we just get to eat. No, you have to go in there, and you have to interact with the lunch people with sign language. So that being said, there are a few problems with this.
I don't think we had to.
Yes, we did.
I think we got away. No, we didn't.
Well, no, everyone else did.
We were like, we're not going to be able to see their responses. Like, you honestly expect. I'm pretty sure that
everyone
said
else
something.
did, but we didn't. We just had to whisper it, though. Like, can I have blah? So it was that. And then in conjunction with hopefully not making too much noise, because remember, everything was so quiet in that cafeteria. So, yeah, we had to actually literally find our way, literally speaking, in the dark, because everyone was quiet. We didn't know where the tables were, so it was hard to find out where everyone sat. So we had to figure this out. And so we only had that once.
When we first got there, everyone was like super helpful. Like, okay, honestly, overly helpful. Like, they were like, let us take your plates. Let us do this. And like, neither of us had asked for that. We were trying to fit in as well as we could because we didn't want to be, at least I didn't want to be seen as a burden. I didn't come there for them to help me. I showed up there to learn how to give these kids a good camp experience. But by the second day, our boss pulled both of us aside and he was kind of upset. He was like, you guys, they're helping you too much and da-da-da-da. And we both were like, well, we didn't ask for this. Neither of us wanted, we needed help, but we didn't need that much help. We're both trying here, so whatever. And I remember we went back into our lecture space and he took the microphone and I wanted to crawl into a hole and die. He was like, so you guys don't have to help Jose and Mariah anymore. You could hear a pen drop.
And let me just clarify. The verdict at the whole thing at the end of both of our lectures was, if y'all don't get your crap together and are able to navigate by yourselves by the end of the week, you're gone. That was it.
Which, again, this place is huge. Like, it expands, I think it's like 200 acres or something. It's ridiculous.
20 acres, I believe.
I don't know.
It was
it's
more than 100
ridiculous.
acres.
It's huge. There were no orientation mobility services. There was nothing for it. So we did a lot of like following and just like asking counselors for direction. For me, it was, I'm not going to say easier because sometimes it just didn't work out. Sometimes my dog would follow. Sometimes he wouldn't. I think it was an unreasonable request.
Now, Ryan, let me ask you something. Weren't you told later by someone else they actually apparently did have O&M coordinated, but then like the instructor never showed up? Am I correct?
No. I can't remember if you were here for her. Yeah, you were. Yeah. So we didn't start getting training on the various sites around camp until kids had already started coming in, which meant that for me, at least, my dog and I were pulled from activities to go and work these routes.
See,
but
I was not.
But maybe you weren't here for her. I don't.
No, I was not. I was not pulled out. No. They didn't pull me out of activities.
I didn't own him through activities at night, earlier in the mornings, like every chance they could get. They tried to make the route stick, but we were learning a new route every day and it wasn't working. They never pulled me
out. They never pulled me out.
Huh.
No.
Most blind people will tell you when you learn a route, it takes a little bit of time. I don't know somebody who can learn a route in a day and know it the next day. And that's what they were expecting. They wanted us to be able to know the routes. I had a slight advantage. My dog knew something called targeting, which meant that if we were close and I knew that we were close to a place that we had practiced before, I could tell him to find the whatever it was. I had him trained to find that pull gate. I had him trained to find the automatic button that opened up the cafeteria doors. But it didn't always work because I still had to know where we were going, and sometimes I got lost.
We both definitely got lost. And actually, with the first week, we definitely tried exploring by ourselves, but it was not easy. Let me just tell you, Friday, when we finished, we had a little graduation training ceremony kind of thingy. And by the time we were done, me personally, and I'm not one to be emotional, but
it happens, man.
We both, I think I started it.
We cried.
We both cried.
We cried.
We did.
It's okay.
And
we cried.
It's kind of funny because we were trying to console each other and we were like, it's fine.
It's fine. I had to get them before training graduation. I kind of confronted my boss with his own logic because he was like, he called us both out and he was like, you guys need to put in more effort and you guys need to be blah, 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 blah. So I was like, okay, well, then you need to stop excluding me. They were working on transferring kids out of wheelchair proper way and the proper positioning and all this other stuff. And I said, okay, if you want me to put in the effort, you need to stop excluding me and teach me how to do these things, because I'm going to be working with these kids too. It's not just going to be the people that are my coworkers. It's going to be me too. So your logic is flawed. I need you to stop excluding me.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Teachavision. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to check out previous shows, which are equally informative and fun as this one. Make sure to also check out our website at screenlessallies.com. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/ScreenlessAlliesOfficial. Do you have any suggestions or comments? Why not email us, info@screenlessallies.com. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.